And we're live here. That's right. The return of the AEW Dynamite post show here. Jackie Jones at In Your Head Wrestling Radio. We're going to get right into it. So, people wanted me to do these, so you better turn out. Better come in here, leave some comments, and I'll continue to do them if you so desire. So, last Friday was the Rampage show with CM Punk. So, you go into this show with a lot of momentum off the CM Punk thing, and 1.2 million people are watching it, and buzz, around the whole wrestling world. So, did they live up? Did they get all these new viewers? You've got all this momentum. Did they live up to it? I'll let you know, in my opinion, here momentarily. All right. So, open the show with Matt Hardy versus Orange Cassidy. This was a hot match. Very exciting. These are two guys that definitely benefit from the return of the crowd. Matt doing the delete stuff. To me, he should be doing this instead of the big money stuff. I'm not a fan of the big money gimmick. His group of guys, it's just a bunch of random people, it seems. There's no, I can't remember. I don't even remember who's with them, like Bunny and who, like the Blade, and I don't know. It's not, I don't enjoy it. But this match, I honestly think I'd have to think about it. Maybe there was something else, but it might. I think it's Matt's best match in AEW. This was very fun. The crowd added a lot to it. I think Matt, he's a hurting guy, so they did like a fun style match. They didn't do a lot. They did some dives, but it wasn't like a really high paced match where Matt had to try to keep up with somebody. It was more about having fun with the crowd, a lot of interaction, and I think that benefited the match. Matt did take out the money for the big money thing. Orange Cassidy picked up 100, put in his pocket after he drop kicked Matt. Then Matt pickpocketed him later on and took it back, which I thought was pretty funny. The delete stuff was really over. Orange was really over. Orange actually showed a little more, not charisma, but he showed a little more fire than usual. He's usually a very calm man. And then it was Orange Cassidy did the Swanton Bomb. They didn't call it Swanton because that's probably copywritten, I guess. I don't know, but they called it the Senton. He went for the Twist of Fate. Matt got out of it. He eventually hit it, but he didn't win with it. But I thought it was cool because Orange actually incorporated the hands in the pockets to win the match, because it was like not a roll up, but it was like a cradle, with the arms around Matt's legs. And it actually made sense because it was almost like in UFC when guys would grab their gi in the old days. The hands in the pocket would make it harder for Matt to kick out, which was I thought was pretty funny. So a hot match to start the show. I was like, all right, good stuff. We had an Alistair with Malachi Black promo talking about Brock. He's going to fight Brock tonight, and he just says Brock Anderson. Just roll out of the ring, take the count out, apologize, and then go in the back with your dad. And to do that, he's not going to hurt him. I like this. That was good. Jericho comes to the ring for a promo. He talks about he's lost 3 straight to MJF. All he could think about to beat MJF. So he has to do it. He can't go on. So challenges him to one last match, putting up his in-ring career in AEW. He puts out there, I guess. I think that adds a little bit to the smart fan. Will think, well, he's saying it's his last match in AEW, not his last match, period. So he could, if he does leave and goes back to WWE, he could still wrestle, stuff like that. I think he probably thinks about. I'm not saying he thinks about going back to WWE wrestling, but I think he thinks about what the audience is going to think, and it adds more like, oh, he might actually lose this, because if he does, he's not going to say he's not going to retire. He's not going to ever wrestle again, but he won't wrestle again in AEW. Plus, he has ongoing now with being the commentator, so he'll still be an AEW, but a commentator. So it puts some doubt in your mind that Jericho could lose this, and he could. I think if he is a full-time commentator, he should stick to that and not wrestle. But at the same time, I don't want to see him never wrestle again. If he is going to actually retire from in ring, though, this is a good way to put MJF over. There's a lot of new guys coming in, and Jericho for a long time was the headlining guy, the mainstream guy that fans who don't know a lot of the newer guys, they would know Jericho, but now you've got Punk, you have Daniel Bryan coming in, so he's not necessarily, he's not the only guy that people would know now. But I'm a big fan of Jericho, but I don't know who's going to win, so I'm looking forward to this. MJF comes out, he has a shirt, MJF 3, Jerablow 0. I like the shirt. He's like, this is getting embarrassing. But it's going on the pay-per-view. The pay-per-view is pretty loaded show coming up. It's funny because a lot of the stuff on the pay-per-view I'm looking forward to more than the quote unquote main event. Christian versus Kenny Omega, especially since we already saw it. Although in a weird way, I would normally, and I still think it was a mistake to have the match on TV before you have the pay-per-view match. Definitely would have never had Kenny Omega lose a match in one of his titles before he loses the main title, especially that you got Punk and Daniel Bryan coming, Bryan Danielson coming in. It just devalued the eventual loss by Kenny Omega. But in a weird way, it did make me look more forward to the match because they had a hell of a match, Christian's best match to date. So JR even mentioned later on in the program, he's like, they're going to have a lot of effort to steal the show with that match. And that was is very true because with Punk on the show and Jericho's possible last match, and you have a lot of stuff on there. After all that, it's going to be hard to follow it with Kenny Omega and Christian, I think. So then we had a promo at the locker rooms with the Varsity Blondes, and I actually like these. I think they're talented. Pillman's very good. I actually think Griff doesn't get enough people really kind of dog him, but I think he's good too. But this gimmick is just the pits. I mean, it's a super cornball. It's like out of like early 90s WWE, WWF. It's just so corny. Maybe if they were heels, it would work because like they'd be cornball heels who like are talking about like rah rah. We got the cheerleader, but as baby faces, it's not good. It's too bad because I think they're talented guys, but the Varsity Blondes name is bad. The fact that they're like high school or college, like maybe college football players, and they have a cheerleader. The whole thing is just super corny. So it's them versus it's a Varsity Blondes versus Lucha Bros, and this is the semifinals of the Eliminator tournament for the number one contendership versus Young Bucks. And so the Young Bucks come out, they're seated with their whole entourage watching the match. People always really put over Penta, like that he's the star of the team and the maybe could be a single star. I personally think Phoenix is much better. I've seen Penta quite a bit now, and I don't know. I think he's kind of off in the match. He misses. He's not nearly as crisp. He botched a couple things I noticed. Phoenix is much quicker. I think he's much more dynamic and more exciting to watch. Penta botched he did like a monkey flip on one of the guys, and then he was gonna like jump into the other guy, and he really just messed that up. It was bad. Phoenix is just very fun to watch, and some of the stuff his doesn't hit all the time either, but just he's so fast and stuff. He's much more fun to watch. There's a couple times like I could notice Pillman was like standing there waiting for the move on him, which takes me out of the match. Part of it's he's only been wrestling 3 years, I understand, but just a lot of stuff with Penta. But the match was very fun and the crowd was into it. Great tope by Phoenix, where both the guys were laying on the outside on the. They were laying down, and he did like almost like a senton into both of them, and then it was almost like the rocket launcher by Penta was kind of throwing him. more just for looks, not like he really did much. I will say the Lucha Brothers are a lot better at hiding the leg slaps on like the super kicks than a lot of other people are in AEW or just wrestling in general. Fun match, even if I just think it was a bit sloppy, but it was fun match. So this leads for Rampage. It's going to be the Lucha Brothers versus Jurassic Express. And the winner of that will go on to the Young Bucks in a cage at All Out, which whoever wins is going to be probably Lucha Bros. And I think it's actually going to be Jurassic Park, but Jurassic Express. If it is Lucha Bros, so I think that'll probably be a better match. But they've been building up more for Jurassic Express. Jurassic Express comes out, shake hands, the baby faces. Young Bucks push them into the other team, trying to make them fight, but they don't fall for it. And the baby faces take out both the heels, which was good. That was nice. Hello, Patrick Howell here in the chat. Jamie Hayter's out next, and she's fighting Red Velvet. I'm gonna put Red Velvet with the blondes. Just a total cornball gimmick. She comes out saying she's from your mama's kitchen, like she's like a human, like cake mix or something. Total corn, just too corny. You get rid of that. I mean, it's like totally like I said, early 90s WWE stuff, mid 90s WWE. It's bad. I think she's actually, I don't think she's terrible. Some people think she's terrible. I just think she's very green. And a big problem with this, I say this every week, and I'm going to keep saying every week, the crowd loves Britt Baker. No one wants to boo her. But for some unknown reason, they want to fight the crowd. Wrestling is obsessed with fighting the crowd. They do it with now Becky Lynch. Want to make her heel. Britt, the crowd loves her, but they want to keep her a heel. Don't do it. If you have something that's so over, you should be happy, because that's what you set out to do. You set out to push these people so they get over. If you have someone that over without even getting behind them as a babyface, run with it, because she's the most over woman in the company and one of the most over wrestlers, period, in the company. So to me, it ruins all her segments, because they're cheering for her, and any babyface you try to want to get cheered, they get booed. So it doesn't work. JR said, people love her and some people hate her, but that's not the case. Everyone loves her. It's not like a John Cena or even John Cena, most people were booing, but they've said this about other people in the past, but it doesn't work here because everyone's cheering Britt Baker. So I just go with it. I'm honest to say this. Hater has a great ass, a really nice ass. And it was funny because on the live Tuesday show, someone I asked if AEW should push more sex appeal, but like I said then and here, they have the women in stuff that shows more of their assets than I think WWE does. But I don't get this confused, because I always hated women's wrestling when it was just about like hot women and they sucked. But I have nothing against hot women or even showing them off and stuff. But I prefer if they can actually wrestle too. And so Hater, you can look but she's also a good wrestler. I didn't like how they brought her in the other week when she unmasked, and it was like, you're supposed to know who she was. I don't remember at all, but she's very good. If this would have just been her debut, it would have been good. But the problem again, they're pushing her as a heel. The crowd's booing booing Red Velvet, because they're cheering Britt Baker. Just go with it. But good match. Hater's great. Awesome clothesline. I like the really stiff clothesline. That was good. Statlander runs in. I'm also a fan of Statlander, so I'm looking forward to that. On our on our Facebook group, which you guys should join, IOH Wrestling on Facebook, Haterhead Wrestling. Renee Mercedes brought up about the women. People used to always say the women were so bad in AEW. And I agree that you can't really say that much anymore, because you're building a really good group. You have not so much Red Velvet. I think I would just keep her off TV till she's more seasoned, and also the name's fine, but don't bring up she's from your mama's kitchen and stuff. That's bad. But Jamie Hayter, Britt Baker, Statlander, the Latina girl. A lot of you got some good people there. Making for a good women's division. Dark Order promo in the back. Evil Uno's coming off more heelish, and some people are wanting to split up. I assume this is going to lead to a new leader coming in, which possibly could be Bray Wyatt. At least that's what they'll hint towards. If you don't have a big leader like that, maybe just end it. I don't know. We'll see. I like it. I would either have the new, if you have Bray Wyatt or somebody like that, it's the new leader. You do that. Just end the group, or have some of the people leave and just go heel with it with Evil Uno as the lead. I like Evil Uno as a promo guy. So then we had CM Punk comes out with Tony Schiavone. Tony Schiavone always looks really happy to be in AEW, and so does CM Punk. He looks like a different guy. He's really happy to be out there. Crowd's going crazy. I was going to say this was not the promo that his Rampage segment was. Pretty much just reiterated the same kind of thing. I'm here to wrestle the young guys. Well, it's fine. There was nothing wrong with it, but it just wasn't. I was expecting a little more, but there was nothing wrong with it. There was some good stuff, though. He's like, I see Darby Allin out there, and it makes you wonder, can I still go? Am I still the best? And we'll find out. So that was cool, and he really got over he's doing a good job putting over the other people and put over Darby Allin here. I thought he did a good job putting over Darby Allin being reckless. And that's kind of the character. He's like a reckless guy who will destroy himself to win. And CM Punk just in this quick promo put that over more than a lot of the commentary does most of the time. But it was good. It was good. There's no way Punk's going to be bad, I don't think, on the mic, but this wasn't the blow away segment that Rampage was. But that's expecting a lot to mimic, to do that again, because that was a real moment. It was funny too. And I thought it was cool. He said Darby Allin would be a guy that would have been my favorite wrestler when I was 15. I like that. The crowd started chanting yes, and CM Punk was like, that's someone else's shtick. You might have to be a little more patient. I like that. Put over his wife, AJ Lee, April. So I don't know. Maybe she's coming in. I'd be fine with that. I guess she's hurt, so can't wrestle, but people really like her. I always liked her, and it would be cool to see her ringside with Punk. Miro promo, speaking about wives, he put over his wife too, which I'm assuming she's coming in because this has been twice now he's brought her up. I've always been a big fan of Rusev, and he came in AEW. I didn't know what the hell they were doing. It started to grow on me, but now that he's by himself and he's God's favorite champion, the Redeemer, fantastic. I love this character. This is good stuff. Great promo. Over God, and he says, I'm the Redeemer. Talks about his wife. It was good. Darby Allin with Eddie and Moxley versus the Wingmen. The Wingmen's it's a jobber group. They don't mix at all. I'll say Drake, the new gear, huge plus, because he looked horrible when he wrestled, and he's actually a good wrestler, but he looks like shit. But he's got kind of the big boss man kind of gear, or maybe chickens, but no, that looks it's an improvement. The group, you see the three guys together. There's nothing that connects these guys. You got one guy who's grinding his hips, he's sexy, he's the Hollywood hunk. And then you've got this giant Italian guy. Then you've got I don't know what the other guy's supposed to be, the big boss man. I don't understand the group. This could have been just a huge failure, but the crowd was actually really into it, so it saved it. It was a fun. I would normally say it's way too long. This should just be a squash, but the fact that the crowd was into it made it fine. Peter Avalon outside, some weak stomps. I don't know who was doing the weak stomps. Might have been Kingston. I don't know. I like Nemeth. I think he's got potential. They really positioned him as just a job guy, but he's fun. He was pissed, started beating the chair. Then Eddie and Moxley just beat the shit out of him. That was pretty funny. Yeah, it was good. It was fine. It was actually good. It was better than I expected to be. It just, you knew he was gonna win. It should have been just a job match. But like I said, the crowd was into it, so it made it better. The Bazzoni guy should not be on TV. He's another guy I think actually potential to be something, but he is so green, like super, super green. Like he could even tell he's like standing there flinching when he's about to get chopped. He just shouldn't be on TV yet. Daniel Garcia running after the match. I actually like this guy and the team he's with 2.0, but you gotta. I know they are building him up right now, but it's like they just expect you to know who these people are, and I don't know who they are at all. It's weird that like he's just this guy, and all of a sudden he's like really fighting with main dudes. But I think he's good, so it was just strange. So they're gonna have the women's casino battle royal at the All Out. Made me think there might be maybe a mystery woman coming in, because a lot of times they have the what do they call it? The ace in the hole. They don't call it ace in the hole, but they always have one person comes in at the end. I'm just guessing it's a surprise. Maybe it won't be. I have no idea. Bunny was asking Ty Conte to join whatever it is, Matt Hardy's group, and I just thought, who cares? That was just a worthless promo. Update on FTR. I thought they said like they don't know when he's coming back, but then a few minutes later they said FTR is wrestling next week. So I didn't quite understand this. Kenny Omega promo, Don Callis in an amazing pink suit with like rose-colored glasses and shoes. Big fan of Don Callis. Don starts ripping off his clothes with Christian. When Christian Cage comes out, they get into a promo. Almost, I will say it's almost normally he really puts over Kenny, but I almost felt that Don Callis was kind of overshadowing Kenny Omega in this segment. It was almost like I want to see Christian versus Don Callis. So he had a good line too. He said, "When you're in there with Kenny, it's just going to be like it's always been. You're going to be second best." And I like that. That was good. Frankie Kazarian runs in and makes a save. This gimmick is just a dud. Just to end this elite hunter stuff. It's not working. I don't think anyone in the world cares. I mean, Frankie Kazarian's a good wrestler, but like his promos are bad. He's still like just really lacking charisma. He's just this guy. And there's this gimmick that he's the elite hunter. I mean, who thinks like Kazarian's going to beat all Kenny Omega and stuff? It's just not working. Moxley promo. It was to put over. I didn't even know what's happening. It was something. He was like the boogeyman from All Japan, and I have no idea what this meant. I don't even know why he's wrestling a guy from Japan. He doesn't have the New Japan title anymore. He lost it. So I didn't understand. They didn't explain this at all. He just like is, I guess I'm sure people out there know who follow everything on the internet. I have no idea what this meant. And then he's like Kojima, Tachi, or I have no idea. No earthly idea who this person is. You got to show a video package or a picture of this guy. No clue who he is. Couldn't care less because I have no idea who he is. So to me, that was just a shit segment because I love Moxley, but I had no idea what any of this meant. The Gun Club, which is Billy Gunn and his kids, they pushed these guys like 1 week, and then I haven't seen them in like 3 or 4 months. I love AEW, but if you're gonna push somebody, you got to keep them on TV a little bit. Maybe not even every week, but like at least talk about them a little bit. So anyway, it's a gun show versus the what do they call them? The factory. It was a Solo, Komodo, or I think it's Komodo, whatever his name is, QT Marshall, and this is billed into Big Show versus QT Marshall, and fucking who gives a fuck about that? I don't even know who won. I actually went and started booting up the laptop here to do the show. I think the gun show won, which is very strange if you're having QT Marshall versus Big Show. Like, I'm not a Big Show fan. I haven't cared about him for probably 20 years. So him wrestling is not interesting to me, but I realize he's a big name. He's a giant. So if you're going to have him wrestle, I mean, you got to put him there against someone people care about. And nothing against, I actually like QT, but he's not like a top guy, and he's not ever going to be. So putting Big Show versus QT Marshall, it's just a waste of anything, to be honest, especially on pay-per-view. Dan Lambert. I mean, this guy, Dan Lambert's very funny, but it's odd because like he's calling all the guys little and like soft. And I mean, I guess like you can always say that he in the heel's mind and stuff's right, what he's saying is right and stuff like that, but it's almost like you're actually having the heel out there, tearing apart your company. It's kind of odd. I don't know. But his group, the role models, is going to be Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. They've been trying to do something with this team for a while, and it's never really caught on. And so I guess maybe Dan Lambert will be their manager. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So then they said FTR is going to wrestle next week, which I thought earlier in the update, he said that the update was they didn't know if they were coming back sooner or later or if at all. And they're just like, well, now they're wrestling next week. I didn't understand. Rampage Friday is Ty Conte versus the Bunny. Jurassic Express versus the Lucha Bros. This is the finals of the tournament, the Eliminator tournament. This will be good. And I think it was Kenny and the D&D guy. I think it was they're going to wrestle Kaz and Christian. You would think Kenny Omega would have a better partner, but I guess that's someone just to take the pin out. Arn Anderson promo backstage. This was good. Brock says, Arn says, Brock's had 6 matches. Black's had 19 years. Just a really good promo. He's like, I told him it's a mistake, but I'm standing behind my son. I would die for my son. My son would die for me. I like this, putting over the Anderson family. And he said too, he's like, not every dog has his day, and good does not always triumph over evil. This was a good classic Arn Anderson promo. Malachi Black versus Brock Anderson. Black's kicks look great. One of the best strikers, I guess, in wrestling. His kicks look like they're really connecting, which I don't think they are, but they look good. RNT's thrown in the towel, but he doesn't do it. Brock was bleeding. Oh, earlier too, Matt was bleeding really good in the opening match. Brock was bleeding, and Black just whooped his ass. Brock had a little bit of a comeback just to show, he was at least trying. This was done well because it wasn't real long. It was a squash, but they didn't, totally bury Brock. Not that he's going to be pushed like really at the moment, but they put him over. It kind of reminded me back when Dustin had a short run in WWF. And he went 10 minutes with DiBiase, but he was more seasoned than, so he went 10 minutes. But it just kind of put over. He is an Anderson. He's not going to quit, but he's also only had 6 matches, so he has no chance versus Black. Really doing a good job building up Black. I assume this, leads to eventually Cody comes back because he can't do Black versus Arn. Brock. So after he just beats Brock, and then he's in there with Anderson. I was like, man, no one's going to come save poor old Arn Anderson. Like you would think that the place would empty to save Arn Anderson, legend. He goes to kick him. Arn blocked the kick, which was a little odd to me because you think you wouldn't have anyone block the kick, especially like an old retired guy, but he blocked the first kick. Then Black kicked Arn in the nuts and then kicked him in the head. And so I was just like, again, I was like, man, no one's going to save this guy. Then Lee Johnson runs in to end the show. And I'm just like, who gives a fuck about Lee Johnson? But that would have been fine if it was the middle of the show. But I think that's a weird run in for the end of the show, Lee Johnson. So I'll be honest, I think the crowd's in AEW. I like AEW. So I wouldn't say this is a bad show or anything, but definitely not a good follow-up, I don't think, to the Rampage when you had all the momentum with Punk's debut. Malachi Black beating Brock was the right thing, but then lead into Lee Johnson match. I mean, who cares? Most of the stuff wasn't that. It was fine. The 6-man with Darby Allin was fun. Really, that was probably better than it should have been on paper. Jamie Hayter looked good, but the Britt Baker's just go with her as babyface. come on already. It's ridiculous. Really, the best thing was the opening match, Matt Hardy versus Orange Cassidy, and Excalibur said like it's all uphill from here, but I don't think it was. I think that was the best thing. So I enjoyed the show. Don't get me wrong, but I think what was not the home run show you really wanted after the CM Punk debut, and seeing CM Punk's promo. I mean, just seeing him is cool, but it wasn't as good as the first night. So here we go. Stephen Butler says Cash Wheeler posted a graphic image of an injury on Twitter. He wonders if it's the end of his career. But then they announced that next week FTR was wrestling. So it was very bizarre. Like they're saying like he doesn't even know if he's ever coming back. And then later on in the same show, they say FTR is wrestling next week. So I didn't understand that. But anyway, that's the Jackie Jones Dynamite review. Leave a comment. Thanks guys for being the champ. Stephen Butler, Tyler Stevens, Patrick Howe, Mo Fried Chicken. I like that name. Well, it's a big show. Yeah. Thanks for joining here. I'm gonna try to do this every Wednesday right after Dynamite. It'll probably be 5 or 10 minutes after Dynamite ends. I gotta boot up the system and everything. If you like it, leave a comment. Give me a thumbs up. Subscribe, hit the little bell icon so you get all the notifications. We're live on Tuesdays. That's the In Your Head show, me and Inchman, and we take a lot of Zoom calls. We might have some guests coming up. That's the main show. And then this one is more just me reviewing Dynamite right after Dynamite is over. So there you go. All right. I'm going to be heading out. Go and join the Facebook group. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. And subscribe and hit the bell icon and share these. Post them on your Facebook, on your Twitter, on your Grindr, whatever you're into. Share the show. Spread the head. Tell everyone, listen in your head. Because you had to find it somewhere and help someone else find it. All right. I'm out of here. Thanks, guys. We will talk.